I would take this position right here, and yeah, you'd get stopped out. But I take it again, and I take it again. And if it gave it to me again, I would fucking take it again. I don't care how many times it stops me out. You kind of do have to be a little relentless. A lot of people fear failure. Like, a lot of people fear it. They're scared. It's like, oh, dude, I don't want to lose money. Like, dude, you're in the business of taking other people's money. What do you mean you're scared of occasionally losing money? You are in the most ruthless industry of all time. You take people's financial livelihoods. It blows my mind when people are fucking scared. Like, what are you scared about, bro? Like, you are robbing people blind. Like, some of you guys are making so much money hand over fist. Some of you have made more money than you have the entire year in the last 2 months. You have to kind of wonder where that money comes from, right? Whose money are you taking, man? And occasionally you got to eat one, you know, occasionally you got to eat a couple. Sometimes you got to give it back. Don't be scared. That's one of the biggest advice that I can give you guys is don't play scared, play prepared. That's how you want to approach things. Don't be afraid because you're gonna get stopped out. Don't let the thought of losing make you so fucking scared that you don't pull the trigger. There's a lot of people like that, and I feel for you because I've been there. Sometimes you've lost a couple trades in a row, you've had a couple bad days, a couple bad weeks. Maybe life is kicking your ass outside of the exchange, so you lack this mental fortitude, you lack a little bit of confidence in yourself because you've lost, right? You haven't been doing as well as you should be or how you feel you should be. So you don't take that shot. You pass the ball. You have an open layup, you pass the ball. You're not even looking to score, right? That's an issue. And it only goes away by you facing those fears. Pull it anyway. Pull it on lower size. But the important part is to do it anyway. You need to do it anyway. Because a lot of you guys think, oh yeah, you know, this trade is gonna fail anyway. But how do you know that? You don't. If it's a good setup over time, you need to step up to the plate, right? Like, you need to step up. As a trend progresses, your risk portfolio changes as a whole. So something that's like 5% up off the weekly support level. So let's say this is your support level, right? Because retest as support, you buying anywhere over here is significantly different from you buying a breakout right here, or even a breakout right here. So you bought $20, your risk portfolio is completely different when you buy it at 33 and completely different when you buy it at 45. Because now you have a potential for more downside. It's significantly different from something that is hundreds of percent up from the same level and close to all-time highs. And this example is just kind of to drive home the message that the later into a trend that you join, the more inherent downside risk you're forced to take on. People can always say, oh, okay, but if I buy right here and I set the stop loss right here, technically you're still buying support. You're just taking on more risk. Whereas when you're buying it, say from the bottom, it's a lot safer for you to ride things up because you're already in profit. It's a much easier hold as well. And it's a huge mental aspect of trading that people don't categorize and they don't gauge at all. It's a lot easier to hold your positions longer than to watch your entries disappear. There's a lot more, not just numerical risk joining a trend late, but there's also the risk that you feel like you have to tack on size. There's a lot of mental pressures that come with it. And people don't really factor that into their risk matrix inside their head. And the reason this message is important, it's not because it's like a novel idea or something, but to tack on to why the risk is different up here than it is right here is because as prices come up, you'll notice that people get more confident. And that's the killer because people tack on size, right? You have other people like me telling you, oh man, Solana might flip Ethereum. Users are spiking. Oh my God, they're doing an airdrop and someone got $50,000 or $100,000 and they farmed it. So they got like $500,000, right? Across 15 wallets. So there's a cognitive difference between what you're supposed to do, which is when you're later into a trend, you're supposed to prioritize risk management a little bit more, and what the crowd is telling you what to do, how they're feeling, how you're feeling. And that's kind of why trading is difficult, because up here, you have people telling you, yo, this shit is going to fucking 140 or 100. And then at 20, you have people telling you, okay, well, this shit is gonna go back down here, bro. Like FTX is selling, the estates are selling, we're going back to $3. So again, if your risk doesn't change, you're playing everything the same as if you entered down here, you're gonna have a bad time. I promise you're gonna have a bad time. And the way that you want to change this is when you get to these midterm areas of resistance, you need to start thinking about defense. Like, you really do need to start prioritizing that little fucking voice in your head that tells you, okay, well, we're at resistance. You know, everyone on the timeline is bullish, and you have to understand that this is just the inverse of what is going on at the bottom, where when we're trading at 20, it's gonna go lower, dude. You can short this because a coin that's down 90% can still go down 90%, right? Like you heard that a bunch of times, and it's true. And it's the same thing up here. Don't sell your positions. Don't take profit. Just double up, triple up, keep adding, buy every dip. It's a dangerous mindset to get in. So once you start hitting these areas where it's like $80, yeah, you should take some profit, dude. You should kind of rearrange your portfolio to diminish risk as well. So you don't have to reduce exposure completely. You can just take 20% off from Sol, move it into Bitcoin, something that's less volatile. So you are inherently decreasing your risk because there's less downside on Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin's probably not dropping 20, 30%, hopefully. And if it did, then Solana's probably dropping 40, 50%. That's another simple way for you to adjust your risk. So yeah, the idea is just to keep the money that you're making. And a lot of people are so fucking caught up with, oh man, how can I make more? The problem isn't making more. The problem is keeping what you've made. It's because of this fucking concoction of feelings that you get at the highs, the overwhelming confidence when you shouldn't be acting that way. Like, it's not good. I don't want to be the party pooper. I don't want to be the dude that's crying wolf at every fucking stream. But it's important because in a sea of people telling you, yes, you need to stack on more risk. Hey, you don't have enough of this. Hey, Solana is going to 200 and there's nothing you can do about it. Like, dude, okay, if it does flip this area, guess what? You can buy again, dude. You can buy more with the new defined area of risk. Whereas if you entered 45 and you're not taking profit at 75 or 80 or whatever it gets to, you're a fucking idiot. Honestly, you're a fucking idiot. Remember that a chart is just a depiction of human emotion, where anytime that you see sharp spikes up, I bet you people were euphoric right here. I bet you this was the happiest time in all of crypto right here. And then in all of crypto, this is probably the fucking most depressed sign, right? Like, this was a ghost town. In fact, it was still a ghost town right here. Fucking people hated Solana. What should you have done though, right? When people were happy shouting that, okay, Sol's gonna, flip ETH and it's gonna go to $1,000 or whatever, that's when you should have been a little bit cautious, right? And then obviously when people are like, hey man, nobody uses this shit, it's a dead chain, blah, 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 blah. If you still believed in it, this would have been a good time to buy some. And you're getting that same emotional reaction right into this weekly and monthly level. That's just food for thought where, hey, maybe you should prioritize keeping your money a little bit more. I'm not saying you need to cut every exposure. I'm not saying you have to fucking close every single thing that you have open, but change your risk matrix a little bit. Because some of you guys, I'm looking at your portfolios and I cannot for the life of me understand why it looks exactly the same as when prices were like 20 something bucks. You have the exact same type of exposure. You're all in shit coins. You have 10% in Bitcoin and no USD. That blows my mind because that tells me that you don't think that there's any downside. So there's no need to adjust your portfolio. And that's a little worrisome. When I say be a brain dead bull, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you're still bullish. Like, you're still holding your position into resistance, right? You are still holding a majority of your position into resistance. That's what being a brain dead bull is. But you know what? There has to be that little voice in the back of your head that's like, okay, I'm gonna take 10% off. It's a marginal amount. It's nothing crazy. I am thinking about where I'm wrong on this trade and where I might cut it. Like, you need to be thinking about that, because if not, you're never gonna think about it, dude. Like, you're never gonna fucking think about it, right? It's the same as, remember when we started to switch into a swing trade, right? Where we're like, okay, we're gonna hold positions a little bit longer because we anticipate a bull market. We anticipate a window where things are gonna go up and we're gonna make more money by being patient in our long positions. It's one of those things where you have to kind of warm it up. It's a skill, right? It's a skill to play defense. It's a skill to play offense. And if you don't practice it a little bit, or you don't mentally rehearse a little bit, it's hard, bro. It's really hard to just do the 180 thing that you see online where everyone's a fucking genius, right? And I'll be the first to tell you that a lot of things that you read online are bullshit. I get to see behind the curtains. I get to see when a lot of the Twitter personas drop the veil and you start to see what's really going on in the background. Again, you need to practice that skill. Like, it has to be in the back of your head. Like, I want you to be brain dead bull, but I also want you to keep the part that has kept you alive during the entire bear market alive, because this shit is a cycle. It's good now and it might be good for a while, but good things don't last forever, because what you guys learned in a bear market is what's gonna make sure that you keep that money.